You ever have one of those moments that just change how you see people? Forever? That night in a small-town diner started like any other. The coffee was cheap, the neon sign buzzed like it always did, and the jukebox hummed softly in the corner. But within 1 hour, that little diner would witness something no one would ever forget. A moment that showed how cruel the world can be, and how powerful kindness can roar when the right people walk through the door. Because that night, a group of bullies thought it was funny to humiliate a disabled girl, until a dozen bikers rode in, and everything changed. The clock above the counter ticked lazily past 8 p.m. The Silver Spoon Diner sat on the edge of a forgotten highway, its chrome edges reflecting the orange dusk. Only a few locals ever stopped by, truckers, travelers, and the night regulars. Behind the counter, Martha, the middle-aged waitress, poured coffee for the handful of customers who trickled in after work. She'd been working here 20 years, long enough to know everyone's order before they sat down. At the far end of the room, sitting near the window, was Lily, a 17-year-old girl with bright blue eyes and a leg brace that squeaked when she moved. She'd been in a car accident when she was 9. It took her months to walk again. She carried a small notebook everywhere, always writing. Dreams, stories, and sometimes just words that made her feel strong. Martha loved her like a niece. "You keep writin', sweetheart," she'd always say. "That's how you heal." Lily smiled and nodded, sipping her milkshake and tapping her pen. Then the bell above the diner door jingled, a harsh sound that broke the peace. 3 teenage boys walked in, loud, laughing too hard, wearing the same high school jackets. Derek, the ringleader, had that smirk people wear when they think the world owes them something. His 2 friends, Kyle and Tom, trailed behind, echoing his every move. They grabbed a booth right behind Lily, their voices carrying across the room. "Hey, isn't that the cripple from school?" Derek muttered, just loud enough for Lily to hear. Lily froze. Her pen stopped moving. Martha shot them a look. "You boys watch your mouths. Everyone's welcome here." Derek smirked. "Relax, Martha, we're just talking." But they weren't just talking. They started whispering, giggling, mimicking Lily's limp whenever she stood to refill her drink. Each time she passed their booth, they'd stick out a leg, snicker, whisper things under their breath. Lily tried to ignore them. She focused on her notebook, writing the words, "Be kind even when others are not." But the laughter got louder. Then Derek stood up and blocked her way. "Hey, Lily," he said mockingly. "Whatcha writing, a book about how to walk straight?" The diner went silent. Even the jukebox seemed to stop humming. Lily's hands trembled. "Please, just leave me alone." Then Derek did something no one expected. He slapped the notebook out of her hands. It fell open on the floor, pages fluttering. She bent down to grab it, but he nudged it away with his boot, laughing. "Oops, clumsy me." Something inside Martha snapped. "That's enough," she shouted, rushing over. "You get out of here right now, Derek." But Derek just laughed. "What, gonna call the cops over a notebook?" Lily stood there, tears pooling in her eyes, face pale. "Why are you doing this?" she whispered. Derek just shrugged. "Because we can." And then, before anyone could react, he slapped her, not hard enough to knock her down, but hard enough to make the entire diner gasp. Martha rushed forward, but the boys had already started walking out, laughing. "Come on, let's get outta this dump." Lily fell back into the booth, silent. Martha knelt beside her, tears of anger welling in her eyes. "Oh, honey. I'm so sorry." The bell over the door jingled again as the bullies left, leaving behind only laughter and shame. The sound of their truck roaring away faded into the night. For a long time, no one spoke. The diner was quiet again, but it wasn't peaceful. Outside, the wind picked up. Far down the road, faintly, the low growl of motorcycle engines began to echo in the distance. It was almost an hour later. Lily still sat by the window, notebook in her lap, quietly tracing the tear-stained pages with her fingers. Martha had called her parents, but Lily insisted on waiting for them there. Then, the sound came, rumbling, deep, steady, like thunder rolling down the highway. One by one, headlights appeared through the window, A line of motorcycles, maybe a dozen of them, pulling into the gravel lot.
Martha glanced outside, nervous.
Lord have mercy, she whispered.
Detesse the Iron Shields.
The Iron Shields Motorcycle Club was known in the area. Rough around the edges, but with hearts bigger than most folks gave them credit for. They rode for charity, helped veterans, and protected kids in rough neighborhoods. The door swung open, and in walked Bear, their leader, a tall, broad man with gray streaks in his beard and kind eyes that didn't match his intimidating frame. His leather jacket bore the words, "Ride with honor." He looked around, nodding politely to Martha.
Evening, Maemme.
Got room for a few hungry riders. Martha smiled shakily. Always, Bear.
Take any boots you want.
Then he noticed Lily. Her red eyes.
The notebook clutched tight.
And the faint mark on her cheek. He paused.
Everything all right here?
Martha hesitated, glancing at Lily. Lily looked down, whispering, "Just some boys from school." Bear turned to one of his bikers, a younger guy named Tank, who had tattoos down his arms but eyes gentle as spring.
Tank, grab the coffee. He'll be right back.
He crouched next to Lily.
Sweetheart, did Someone hurt you?
Lily tried to smile. It's fine. They're gone. Bear nodded slowly. You know their names? Lily hesitated, then whispered. Derek.
Derek Miller.
Bear stood, walked to the counter, and said quietly to Martha, How long ago? About an hour, she said. They slapped her. Laughed about it. Bear's jaw tightened. What's his ride?
Old red pickup. Heads west out of town.
He nodded, then turned to his men.
Boys, finish your coffee.
We're going for a short ride. They didn't need more explanation. 10 minutes later, the roar of their bikes filled the air again. The sound faded down the road in the same direction the bullies had gone. Martha turned to Lily. You think they'll find them? Lily looked out the window. I don't know. Half an hour later, the door opened again. The bikers returned. Quiet. Calm. Bear walked up to Lily, laid something on the table. Her notebook. The same one Derek had thrown to the floor. The pages were no longer torn. Someone had taped them back together.
We found your notebook, Bear said softly.
You keep writing, kiddo.
Don't let anyone take your voice from you.
Lily looked up at him, eyes wide. Did you talk to them? Bear smiled slightly. Let's just say, they won't be bothering anyone again. Sometimes, a man needs to be reminded how to treat people. He tipped his head and said, We'll be back for pie next week. You save us a table. Then he walked out, his boots echoing on the tile. As the engines rumbled away once more, Martha looked at Lily, who was still holding her notebook close. She opened it to the first page and wrote one line, in bold, trembling handwriting. Kindness may be quiet, but it's never weak. When her parents arrived minutes later, they found her smiling softly, her eyes still glistening but her spirit unbroken. And from that night on, the Silver Spoon Diner was never just another diner. It was a reminder that sometimes the loudest protectors wear leather jackets, and that courage can come from the unlikeliest places. The world isn't divided between the strong and the weak. It's divided between those who choose cruelty and those who choose courage. And sometimes, courage comes roaring in on two wheels.